Welcome to another episode of Bargain Bin Saturdays, and this month I'll be covering 4 creature features based around water monsters, which means I'll be looking at anacondas, alligators, sharks, and a she creature, which is basically just a mermaid. I'm not sure what order I'll do them in, but probably alphabetical order, which means the she creature will be last, and alligators will be next. Should be interesting, I guess. So I guess technically alligators should win first. We'll call it a crocodile instead. How about that? So now it's a C. Ha! But anyway, I'm not sure how to feel about 1997 Anaconda. On one hand, it has some A-list actors in it. On the other hand, it has a very B plot. So is it meant to be taken seriously, or am I just meant to have fun with it like it's Tremors? On the other hand, considering the way the plot's written, it basically hits every single cliche you could think of for the creature feature movies. So maybe it is meant to just be a B movie with a box office budget to some extent. And as a B movie, it's not bad. It does its job for what it's meant to be. It's entertaining. And that's about all you can expect out of a B movie. I mean, you're not really expecting something truly grandiose that transcends the art form, per se, necessarily. I imagine there are movies that can do this, but Anaconda's definitely not among them. It's a very bad movie which features a lot of over-the-top acting. Jon Voight is probably one of the saving graces for the movie, and especially his faces. He gives some really creepy and unusual faces that make you just know that he's evil. Well, I guess you could argue that the snakes are the real threat in this movie, but it's hard to deny that the character he's playing is just as much of an antagonist as the snakes are, and arguably more dangerous considering he's actually capable of logical thought and thinking, while the snake's just going to try and crush you to death from taking you from behind or whatnot. I'm not entirely sure what to feel about the snakes themselves, though. It's obvious that most of the snakes that we see are CGI instead of animatronic. Understandable, I guess, but at the same time, the CGI snakes just never feel exactly real or present in the movie. They just feel off. Like, you know there's something that's supposed to be there, but you never feel like it is, so there's never really any scares in the movie, which is sort of problematic if you're going to talk about sort of a creature feature horror movie. You should feel like there's some sort of scare or tension in the air, and you never feel it because you just wonder why these people are running away from all these non-existent snakes. Would I recommend watching Anaconda? Well, yes and no. On one hand, if you're in the mood for a bad movie, you can probably have some fun with it. If you're looking for a good movie, I probably would ironically suggest watching Gremlins, which is more of a Christmas movie. I may talk more about that later on in the year, though, considering I do have a copy floating around my room somewhere. And I have seen it in the bargain bin, so I got justification to pull it out. As far as the Anaconda goes, there's only one thing that really surprised me with the movie. The person that's the Ice Cube actually survives to the end of the movie. Well, actually survives through the movie, which is surprising considering in almost every movie where there's a creature attack, a person of a minority, specifically if they're from African descent minority, they're almost always killed. And surprisingly, his character manages to survive, and is probably the male lead effectively, considering the other male character that's meant to be playing the fiance of the female lead is basically incapacitated throughout most of the movie. While his character does do some important things like attacking Jon Voight's character from behind with a tranquilizer dart at one point, he basically is injured throughout most of the movie, so much so that he's basically bedridden for most of the action scenes. So Ice Cube has to pick up the slack, and I'm not exactly sure if I should call that brilliant or not. On one hand, they're breaking a usual cliche. On the other hand, it doesn't feel like his character was that particularly well written at times, often being depicted as being a more violent and aggressive character, almost needlessly so, because there's points where he basically threatens to break someone's hand over messing with his radio because they want to turn it down. He's killing this guy's golf time, which is sort of dumb, golfing on the back of a boat. So I guess you got nothing better to do besides hit golf balls, you might as well do it. But that seems to be polluting the environment, and you think someone that wants to make a documentary wouldn't be doing that because it makes them look very unprofessional. But I transgress, I guess. I just don't ultimately know what I want to say about Anaconda. Besides, it's a movie that I guess sort of does approach the line where it's so bad it's good. I never felt bored with it, which is definitely a plus. I don't know if I was truly entertained by it, but at least it wasn't boring. Well, I guess next week we'll be back and looking at Blackwater. Maybe it'll be better, maybe it won't. Guess I'll find out, though.